everybody. We are trying this again. I'm hoping that YouTube catches up with me. My name's Linda. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and this is our Wednesday workshop. Not sure if this is going to work, so I'm going to look for the comments. If you are in here, leave a comment and let me know that you found me. I had to restart this stream again, and hopefully we are okay. Let me take it out of this for a moment and just hang out here and see if people find me. All right, let's see. Okay, so Sue, does that mean, no, you don't need to share again. It's fine. I copied the, if you were in before and you had the comment and you already commented, then you're good. If you already shared, you're good. I'm not leaving you completely. I'm going to copy the URL from this and put it on the Facebook page in case anybody needs to find us. I am still here and we will see what happens. There we go. Crap. Gosh darn it. Okay. Well, hopefully this works. Okay, we'll see if that works. I'm hoping that people can find me. Sue, I'm glad you found me. I don't think anybody else has yet, though. We'll have to see. Okay. I'm just gonna go. I'm back. Love the technology. I'm gonna do this. So at least I'm not walking away from you. So sorry, but we will get this figured out. All right, so I don't even know where I am at this point. Okay, we're getting here. Hey, Nancy. Yay, nice to see you. I'm glad you're there. Oh, okay, Sue. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. It'll be here when you come back. All right. So, Nancy, we were having some technical difficulties and I'm getting us back together. I hope the group that was in before follows its way over here. Let's see. Okay. Videos. Live. Okay. So let's see if I can get this to work. All right, so I'm just posting on Facebook real quick. I think it's just you and me right now, Nancy. That's fine. And I have a fun frame to make, and one of these days technology will not fight me as much as it is. Come on. There we go. Oh, okay. All right. Well, this doesn't seem to want to do what I want it to do. All right. I don't want to do that. Where's the other one? Okay. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this recording. And Nancy, if it's just you and me, that's just okay. All right. So I'm going to switch everything up here. Oh, wait. 1, 2. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to just finish off where I was on the last one. I'm going to go through the measurements real quick. This is the frame that we are making tonight. It measures 4 by 6. You're going to want to find some dies that are 3-ish by 4-ish to make a frame. You're going to need a window sheet and some designer series paper, and I'm about to give you all the dimensions for everything that you'll need. You can choose to put whatever you'd like in this corner. It can be a stamped image like we did here. It can be some die cuts. I have some other samples to show you once we put this one together ourselves. So this, the entire thing measures 4 by 6, and the way that you get to that is you start with a piece of tag board. I use the tag board from the designer series paper, and that measures 4 by 6. And then you're going to top that with a 6 by 4, 4 by 6 piece of cardstock. You want the tag on the back just to make sure that it's good and sturdy. Then you also need a small piece of tag that measures 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. And after that, you need, oh, sorry, lost that. You need, Yep, you didn't. Okay, so hang on just 1 second. Kathy, you're back in, I guess. I just want to double check that people can hear and everything's going okay. So I'm going to keep going here, but let me know in the comments. Then to layer on your designer series paper, it's going to be 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. That is the same measurement for your designer series paper, 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then last but not least, next to last but not least is your window sheet that makes it look like a picture frame. And that is 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then the last thing is a photo template, which I found helpful when I was trying to figure out what size picture to put in, and I thought I should add this to your instructions so you'll be able to do that. So the photo template, this piece measures 5 by 4, and then the photo itself is 3 1/4. It looks more like 3 1/4 by 3. And what happens is when you slide this in, the picture ends up being right where you want it. So what I would recommend is that you lay your picture on here and get it cut to this size, and then you know that you can just drop it in and that's what it'll look like. You can also, if you make this template, you could put a little temporary adhesive here, put your picture on it about this size and kind of move it around and make sure it's exactly what you want it to look like. All right, so let's talk about how to get this assembled. So I gave you all the cutting measurements, but we actually have a couple of little modifications as we're going. So the first one is with the larger layers, the ones that are 4 by 6. The first thing I did after I cut these to 4 by 6 is I trimmed off, I'm going to line these corners up, I trimmed off a little bit on the top and the side. And the reason that I did this is because I want this to be glued on here, but I don't want it to show. And so I just have a little bit of an edge, around a 1/16 of an inch of an edge all the way around. Make sure when you're using your tag board, if it's got any lettering or writing on one side, that the lettering and writing side is the side that you put your adhesive on. In this case, it's liquid glue. And then you're just going to flip it over and put it on your cardstock that measures 4 by 6. You're going to want, there we go. And then you're just going to flatten it out and set this aside to dry because we don't need this for a couple of minutes. We're going to put the other layer together and then we'll get the stand going. So this is our first companion set. Then the second set that goes together is the designer series paper and a piece of cardstock. I liked to use the heavier, our Stampin' Up's colored cardstock is heavier than the basic white or the very vanilla, and I prefer to use that. You can certainly use a very vanilla or basic white if you like that better. I did the exact same thing. After I cut both of these layers to 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, I trimmed off a little along the top and the bottom or the side of the cardstock so that this will fit on and not peek out of my designer series paper at all. So now we're going to put these two together the same way, except I'm going to bring in my scratch paper so I don't have a problem. All right. So this time I'm going to put the liquid glue on my cardstock piece. And then I just want to make sure that along the edges I have enough. All right. So because we're using liquid glue tonight, I'm going to assemble a couple pieces here, a couple pieces there, and then we'll pull it all together. Oops. And because it's liquid glue, it does slide a little bit, which is a good thing. So you can make sure that the cardstock is tucked behind. And then you just want to rub your hand along it to just get a good seal. And then just set it aside and let it dry up a little bit. All right, so now let's do our backing, or our stand. So our stand is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. We need to score it on the diagonal. I usually show you guys how to score on the diagonal using your trimmer. That's the easy way to do it. I thought I'd show you how to do it using a score tool, like Stampin' Up's scoring tool. You could also use a score pal. I'm just lining up the corners. I used a red permanent marker and slid it right down the 5 1/2 because I end up scoring at that point a lot on my cards. So I prefer to have my marked line at 5 1/2, which I'm going to use a lot. Because this is thicker tag, now that I have it lined up exactly how I want it, I'm going to start just a little bit below, and I'm going to slide up. Okay, I'm going to slide up because if you slide down without getting that little primed part of your score, you have the potential to not be as successful. So now we have a nice score line right down the middle, and I can set this aside. Don't need it anymore. All right, so we're going to fold this in half, and this will become our stand. Now, since I put this together first, I'm going to go ahead and add the stand to it. So the way that I am going to do that is I have a piece of, this is the 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 piece. It's just some copy paper. It'll still work. I'm going to mark the middle. This is my cheat for finding the middle of everything. I just take a duplicate of the size using copy paper, fold it in half both ways, and then I have my center. So what this can help me measure is I can just make this kind of centered here, and I thought I had a pencil. There we go. And then I'm just gonna mark the center here, and then I'm just gonna eyeball. You want to glue You want to make sure that you're going to glue this and it's gonna flap out and stand. So I want to glue this part, and I would say right about there is the middle. So I'm going to just line those two up. And while those two are lined up, you can't see what I'm doing. While those two are lined up, I want to make sure that this is to the bottom, and I'm even here and here, so that this line is straight, because that'll give me the best stand. So this is where I'm going for. Oh, and if I would have marked it, I would be able to go back to it when the glue is wet really easily. So I'm just going to mark right here, and then I can erase all of these marks. So the piece that's got the flat top is the piece that I want to put the glue on. So we're going to glue this. Okay. I'm going to go back the way I was. I'm going to line up my two center marks and my side. And I'm going to kind of eyeball it and make sure this is straight. And then I'm going to set this down. All right. I just want to go over with my fingers a couple times because I don't have anything I'm going to set on top of it. All right, I'm going to set this aside. I know my window sheet is going to disappear, so I'm going to put it on top of that. There we go. All right, so we have the window sheet and the frame is done. It's got to stand to it. It will stand. Now we need to take care of this. So in order to take care of this, we need to make a frame, which I have right here. Let me show you how I made that. This is my second tip for centering things. On your dies, you can see I marked on these dies the centers of the sides and the top and the bottom. So when I went to make a frame, it's easier to lay it down here for you guys. When I went to make a frame, I just mark those dies, or sorry, mark those lines together. So when it went through my, there we go, my die cutting machine, I knew when all the lines were lined up, that meant that the frame would come out the way I wanted it to. So that's what I did, and that gave me this basic black frame, but I need to be able to get through there to put a picture in, because otherwise this isn't going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of this piece, and this is center tip number 3. I need a little snip. So I have my piece of paper that I folded into quarters. I'm going to fold it all the way into its quarters. I'm going to take a tiny bit off. Now I have a hole in the center. I'm going to lay it right down on top of this, and I'm going to make my mark. And actually on gray, that's not going to work too well. Well, it's going to, oh, I know what I have here. I have a Stampin' Blend. That'll work. Polished pink. Okay, remember I'm going to die cut this out, so I don't care that that's a bright color. I just needed to be able to see it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smaller of the two frames, and I'm going to center it using those guides that I have and run it through my die cut machine. This won't fit through the mini Stampin' Up machine that I have right by me, so I'm just going to walk a little bit off camera and you'll hear a motor. I'm going to send it through my regular die cut machine. All right, so there we go, back again. Here is the same matching frame size, And now I have my opening. All right, so now we can really make some progress here. The next thing I want to do is get my window sheet on there so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to lay this down right here. You can see you can't see, you can see there, it's just a little bit bigger than the opening, and I need to do the same thing that I did for gluing everything else. Just put some liquid glue just around the edge here. You don't want to be heavy-handed, but I do find for this project it is the best glue to use just in case you need to move things around just a little bit. All right, you don't want to have to slide this too much because it is a window sheet and you don't want to get any finger marks or any dirt or anything in the middle of this. There we go. If you don't have liquid glue, or you just don't want to get messy, my second option would be to use glue dots. That would be my recommendation. They're not going to be forgiving at all, but they are really sturdy and small. You could also use tear and tape. That would work as well. But again, with tear and tape, you literally get one shot and that's it because you'd have it all the way around. At least with the glue dots, you might be able to slide them just a little bit as you were working through it. All right, so then we have this piece. I'm going to flip this over. So now we have the frame part with the window sheet, and now we need to add our basic black frame. This part is not, I think it's essential because I think it gives you a nice pop. I have so much acetate. That's funny. Shaker cards, Nancy, shaker cards. You could do a bunch of those. But I do think that it gives it some pop. Oh, crap. Oh, okay. I did use, oh, goodness. All right. Well, what do I always tell you? You're making the effort to make it, so if it's not quite perfect, they will understand. My guess is there's a little glue on the window sheet on the wrong side now. Not going to worry about it, but my little tip for you is if you use some rubbing alcohol, it does come off. But I'm not going to mess with that at this point. All right, so I'm just going to let this dry. Yep, there's 2 dots of glue. Okay. I'm just going to let this set up for a minute. We're going to stamp our little extra piece here. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. That frame makes it look finished. That's why you'll see it on the other samples that I have to show you. But it's certainly not something that you have to do. All right, so let's get, I already stamped the greeting. This is from the stamp set, A Grand Kid. You Are So Loved. Even though this is supposed to be a grandparents set, I find so many uses for it. I love the font of the congratulations. I use that a lot. I love the happy birthday. I really like it for guy cards. I use this one a lot for guy cards. So it's something to think about. And let me know in the comments whether you're on Team Replay or you're watching this live, if you would like me to do set aside a Wednesday for guy cards. I would love to know that in the comments. All right. So I'm going to punch out You Are So Loved. Remember, this is supposed to be a Father's Day gift. But I didn't think somebody would want Happy Father's Day sitting on their desk year-round, but they'd certainly like to know that they were loved. And then I'm going to show you how to frame that punches the tailored tag, and I'm going to show you how to make a frame with the tailored tag to just give it a little bit of extra matting. So all you do is punch another tailored tag, and then you cut it in half. Just eyeball where half is. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're just going to line things up. And then I'm just going to continue to use my liquid glue because it's right here. You're just going to put, let me make sure. You're just going to put a little towards the middle and a little bit like almost a triangle of glue. And you're going to use that. I'm going to do this one on the top first. And then once you cover the glue, you want to line up the sides and just leave it a little bit up. So I know that makes it so that you don't have any adhesive right there, but it does work out okay. because the liquid glue is so strong, and it's just easier than trying to guesstimate how high up you want the glue to go. Now the other way that you can do this is you could put the glue on the white, but you only want to do like this, and then you would have your glue on the tip. It just depends on righty, lefty, comfort with using liquid glue. So you have options. But this time, and the reason I don't like it is I have one shot. I have to go low on here and then kind of slide it up to be even, and the sides. So I prefer the glue on the white part, or sorry, on the matte part, the black, but you can do it either way. And then you end up with a nicely matted phrase. Okay, so that's gonna go in the corner. Oh, I don't know why I closed this up, but we'll do the assembly and then I will add this at the end so it can set up a little bit. So now we have our base and it's standing beautifully. So we're gonna lay that down and we're gonna add our top, and all we're gonna do is grab, speaking of shaker cards, the long dimensional tape. I can't even remember after starting and stopping this stream 3 times. I can't remember what this one's called, but it's like foam tape, but it's real narrow and very thick. So you're gonna put a piece across the bottom of your frame, and obviously you don't want it longer than the frame, so you're gonna want to trim that off. I don't want to use those. Here we go. I knew they were close by, but I'm going to trim it off with these. Alright. And if you, while I'm doing my trimming and all, if you are enjoying this video, if you would give me a thumbs up. YouTube really likes it when videos get thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, please click subscribe. I do go live every Wednesday, and we will be adding more as the summer progresses. All right, so 2 on this side. There we go. All right, guide cards are nice. Good, thanks, Kathy. I was thinking about that as I was putting this Father's Day thing together. We haven't really done any recently. All right, so then you're going to want your take your pick tool or some sort of piercing kind of tool, and you're going to want to use this end. And the first thing you're going to do is leave the sides alone, just take the bottom off, because you don't want to try and lay this whole thing down at once. Give yourself a little grace and just start with the bottom. So I'm going to lay this flat, so I folded the flap over so it'll go kind of flat. And then remember, this is a 1/4 inch all the way around, so I'm just kind of eyeballing that the top, bottom, left, and right have the same amount of space. And then I'm going to put this down. And once you've done that, that's it. So if you're not happy with it at this point, then you're kind of back to square zero. But remember, it is a handmade gift and it can be imperfect. All right, and then I'm just going to use my take your pick tool to get the other 2 started, and one at a time I'm going to put those on. So I'm just going to go in here and lift the release paper and then pull it away and finish it off. All right, there we go. So I'm almost done. We're almost to the finish line. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to glue this down, and I'm only going to put a little bit of glue over here. So I'm just going to, like a thumb's worth it looked like. So I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to just put a thumb's worth over here. And just put that right there and let it set up. All right, and the paper that I used tonight, that I used as the sample here and the one that we made, Those are both from the Suitably suite, the masculine suite from the spring catalog that's about to end. So if this paper is of interest to you, order soon. The link to shop is below in the comments. All right. Oh, you got to have this punch, Kathy. I use it all the time. It's fabulous. You can make a graduation cap with it too. I know we're pretty much out of graduation time, but I know I've shown that before. All right, so let me just move my tools out of the way. And let me show you a couple other examples of making this frame. So these are the two that, the one I started with and the one that we just made. And then I also did one with evergreen and soft succulent. This is from the Artistically Essential, oh, don't quote me. It'll be down in the comments exactly what this one is from, but that's what the leaves are from. And this is, it's right here. This is from the So Sentimental dies that are still around. The stamp set that used to go with it, it was retired, but these dies are still around, which I'm super happy about because I like using those. And then this one is the Pansy Patch. So I just stamped one of the pansies and then die cut it out, and then I used the Painted Textures design or embossing folder to create that. The other thing about this is that I'm glad Nancy has lots of window sheet because she mentioned it, but if you don't, I used a clear envelope on this one, and you can see that it looks just fine. It works just fine. I used both layers of the envelope, and then you can just tuck this right in here. I mean, you can still see the kind of shine that it's got, like it's glass, but this is one of the clear envelopes from Stampin' Up. So you could use a clear envelope or a cello bag, whatever you have around, as long as it's big enough to fit in this space if you don't have any acetate on hand and you want to make this project. So again, on my blog tomorrow, you will see all of these pictures as well as directions on how to assemble these. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really appreciate it. If you're on Team Replay, leave me a thumbs up and leave a comment below if you'd like to see some more guide cards. And by all means, please subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified next time I go live. Have a great week, and I'll see you here next Wednesday.